my clicker. Okay. Oh, it's really loud. So yeah, it's about these models becoming dynamic living systems. And as I said, 73%, so quite a statistics there, of companies reporting that they are using AI in some form in their companies. I actually think it might be a bit higher, but if you haven't looked at the adoption of AI, you should really, really do it. Now, AI is not replacing AEC professionals. That's my prediction. There will always be engineers, there will always be architects, but what it is doing, it's amplifying our capabilities. Machine learning, 61% reduction in project delays due to predictive risk analysis. Again, the data is there. Real-time automated site monitoring. Generative AI, 55% improvement in design iteration speed, 50 between variants per hour versus 2 to 3 manually. We've seen this happening. The exciting part and the hair-raising part for me is the AI agents via MCP. Who has played with, you guys know what an MCP is? Model Context Protocol. It's basically that translator that allows your normal AI to talk to Revit or to SketchUp and those kind of stuff. So the exciting bit is when you start playing with that. One of the companies we work with have done some automated layouts using AI. Took them 2 days to get it right, and they've saved 2 weeks worth of work. So this is where this is heading. It's not just about writing that fancy email that we use AI for. Automated detailing. I was talking to a director of an AI firm the other day, an AEC firm, and this director says, Jay, I'm back to doing door schedules because we're under so much pressure. Well, that's something AI should be doing. Most of our companies are data rich but insight starved. There's a lot of data. We've got data on our financial systems, we've got data on our project systems, we've got data on our models, but none of this comes together. You see tools like Power BI starting to play a really, really big role because it allows us to connect data sources from multiple silos into one space. How many guys make decisions based on a spreadsheet with numbers on that was created by one person 3 years ago? And it's really updated.
5 years ago.
5 years ago. So that's changing because now I can have that Power BI template sitting there, grabbing data directly from the data sources coming in. No more formula errors because I forgot to lock a block or anything like that. And it allows us to bring more and multiple stakeholders into the room as we make decisions. The data connector, for instance, in ACC allows us to pull rich metadata from models and from projects straight into Power BI and connect that with something like the finance system to start connecting the blocks together and see one big picture. Of the public. This is the most important part for me, or the most exciting part. This is coming. IFC 5.0 open standard. So, if you're working any projects in Dubai, IFC needs to go through. Most South African countries work on, I think, IFC 2x3. Some have gone over to IFC 5. But the problem with IFC is it's this big monolith of a model. If I change a window, I have to re-export the whole IFC model to share it again. It's large, it's cumbersome. I want to add some metadata that, so I have metadata get lost, and then I have to re-export and then re-add metadata to the IFC model. IFC 5 is strategy we're making, and it's moved over to the JSON-based syntax, meaning it's becoming a true database. That means if I wanted to see the color of the wall or the finishes on the wall, I can just select the wall and I can just pull what I need. I don't have to pull the whole model. It also means that I can have multiple people working on the same IFC model at the same time and share what they've shared without overriding each other's data. So they're actually using something now called Universal Scene Description, which is actually really cool because they stole it from Pixar. So the guys have gone to the movies and they've used some of that technology and they're bringing some of that technology into the IFC space. So this is what's being worked on this year for IFC 5. So I've got it on the coming soon. But keep an eye on this, because this is going to be the next level of interoperability between companies and how they work together. I'm very, very excited about this. Digital twins, it's a buzzword lately, and what does it actually mean? It's integration of IoT sensors, BIM data. But what excites me is the ability then to use AI on that data collection that comes in. We've seen more and more project owners asking for that Revit model to become a live model after handover. Who even thought about what happens to your Revit model after you've done a handover? You know? Very few companies actually use it. But what we have seen on mega projects is through predictive maintenance, we've seen a 25% reduction in maintenance costs, 20% reduction in energy costs. And this is due to predictive analytics from AI. So the data is there. We can start predicting stuff. If there's a chiller that's showing an anomaly up there, unusual vibration on the chiller, that shows that something's happening. We can predictively go and look at and catch that problem before it happens. Then sustainability. This is actually quite an interesting thing, because I was at a housing conference about 2 years ago, and they said, with international investors investing in South Africa, sustainability is a very, very big issue for them in the projects that we do. Our projects have to be sustainable. Now, AI does have the capability of helping us with energy optimization, carbon footprint, and all of those things. But the dichotomy here also lies, the ESG paradox lies in the fact that I must balance my use of AI, which uses a lot of carbon to produce what I want to produce, in order to get my building more energy efficient. So there's a bit of a paradox at the moment, but that is lying there. But the fact is that AI can really help us. But before we can use AI, again, I want to reiterate, it is important to have the right data. It all starts with the data. And if I don't have my standards set up here, I don't have these kind of things done, what I'm going to get out is going to be wrong. And it's not going to be the AI's fault, it's going to be our fault. That's what we put in. That's what gives us the outputs. But what's our barriers to adoption? It's a typical stuff, the training gaps. People are not being trained on AI and how to use it. If you talk to any company, you'll probably find that there's a shadow IT running. Everybody's running their own AI. This one's running Claude, and that one's doing that. The data quality, I spoke about that. Cyber security, how do I lock that down? I can very quickly vibe code something that works for me. But do I know what my vulnerabilities in the vibe code is? Has someone checked this? Am I leaking data out somewhere? Have I opened up my system to external intrusion? And that's where the new war is in cyberspace. There's some cost and leadership resistance, because really truly adopting AI is more than just getting a ChatGPT subscription. When you really look into that, that's a major cultural shift. That's a big mindset shift into, number one, trusting the data that you're getting, trusting your own data and how this rolls out. Now, the part that overwhelms me a little bit is the fact that we've just gotten used to some of the new roles that's come up. BIM manager didn't exist 6-7 years ago. Then there's BIM coordinators, so that's a new role. The problem is now, as we adopt this, there is some other new professions coming out in our industry we need to start thinking about. And these guys are demanding 15 to 25% premium on their salaries. They don't yet exist in South Africa, but this is what's coming. Chief AI officer and an enterprise-wide AI strategy for a company. AI solutions officer. That's the guy sitting there building the tools so that you can use it, because you still have a team that needs to execute the project. So who's going to build the tools that you want to use on the project? Digital twin coordinator. Once that project's handed over to the project owner, who manages that data? Who manages that live file? Is it facilities management? Does facilities management have the capability or the capacity to do that? So that's a new role we're seeing come around. AI data governance. That's the guy looking at your data, ensuring your data is right, ensuring your data is safe. So these are just some things to keep in mind as we look forward in business. Now, I'm not saying this is something we have to do today, my co-director, Katie, at the back there, sighs every time I speak, because he said to her, we need to look at investing in this, because how are we going to stay relevant 5, 6, 10 years from now? The world is flat. If you look at the amount of foreign investors, and I don't want to name a nation, but you know the amount of construction happening from them in Africa right now. Our industry is not protected against the international onslaught that is coming. You know, we do have the advantage that our labour is relatively cheap related to the rest of the world, but if we're not at the forefront of what we do and how we do things, we do have quite a hill to climb. So now that I've left you guys with that thought, you know, how do we start? You know, beginning with a targeted pilot project. It's something small. Get your hands wet, you know. Build capacity without vetting the whole business. Again, I want to make clear about that. One project, one team, one tool. We have, I'll give you guys an example what our office did just the other day. We have a model that's absolutely massive. How big is Claire's model? Because, Augustine, do you know? It was like 60 gigs or something like that. It was something insane. And they had 4 or 5 of these that all need to be federated. And it's humanly impossible to try and get right. When we bought a 100,000 rand machine, we were still struggling to get this right. And through the use of vibe coding and looking at AI, etc., we've managed to get that model down. I think one of the models that became, we took a model of 20 gigs, I think it's now something like 1 gig or something like that. It was quite a dramatic reduction, but it's still using that process. But again, it was taking one project and just looking at that one project and still maintaining the main work stream on that and getting a second work stream just to see how can we optimize that work stream. So the next time that happens, we know what to do and test it. So we didn't put the project itself first. So key takeaways. There is definitely convergence with AI, BI, you know, and BIM. Ask all acronyms they're all there. But that convergence is happening, it's definitely there. Data foundation comes first. It's about people, not software, and how they use those tools. Adopt early, really look at adopting early. We're actually working with a client now that's still only using AutoCAD, and they are being asked for them. It's quite a big process to try and move forward. And then, as I said, the convergence is it's happening. If you talk, this is our fourth How to BIM in Africa. And if you look at how it's changed over the last 4 years, it's only accelerated. Any questions?